Before I started my PhD, these are the conversations that I really wish that I had had. Now, the thing is that there's awkward conversations that need to be had with your supervisor, with your support group, like your significant other, and yourself. And in these awkward conversations are where the real gems lie. Like, it'll help you last the distance. It'll help you when you're feeling down. It'll be things that you can go back to when things aren't quite going right and you need a little bit more support. All of these things are so important. So let's have a look at supervisor conversations, family and support group conversations, and conversations you need to have with yourself, like in a mirror or something, I don't know, or even just in your own head, and how awkward can lead to success. This video is brought to you by my newsletter. Go check it out at andrewstapleton.com.au/newsletter. Don't forget the .au. The other website, .com, is someone else. When you sign up, you'll get 5 emails over about 2 weeks from the tools I use, the podcasts I've been on, and more. Go check it out. It's value that you get exclusively from that email list, completely for free in your inbox. Okay, so the awkward conversations that you need to have with your supervisor firstly include expectations. In the early stages of your PhD, you should sit down with your supervisor and just lay out exactly what they expect from you. And the way I like to ask this question really is, what in the past has worked with PhD students that you've worked with and what hasn't worked? And what you'll do is you'll slowly tease out their expectations, because just asking expectations head on, quite often, they want to seem like the nice person. They want to seem like, oh, well, the expectations is this, that you grow as a person. But really, deep down underneath that, you need to keep digging. And by asking about good students and bad student experiences in the past, you can kind of start to work out where their priorities lie. And the second really awkward conversation that you need to have up front is what you would like from your supervisor, the sort of support that they can provide to you. Now, it can be really awkward to go in and start demanding stuff from, someone who's much more senior, someone who's taken maybe a bit of a risk on you to invite you into their research group, but these are so important. If you have any sort of like special requirements, if you have anything that you need to tell them, this is the time to do it. And I found that in the early stages, for me, something very important for me was actually traveling back to the UK at some point to see my family. Like 3-4 years away from your family is a long time. And we were able then to look at a conference that was going back to the UK, send me there. And, that was so great. And without that kind of awkward conversation of that being very important to me, we would have never had a look for those opportunities. So remember, it's a two-way street. Ask those awkward questions with your supervisor and just keep, probing. Just keep on sort of like asking more and more questions so you really get an idea of what they expect from you, what success looks like from their point of view as a PhD supervisor from their PhD student. Use that to set a good kind of foundation for open communication with your supervisor. Doing a PhD is really tough. There's no doubt about it. There are ups and there are downs, and go check out my other video where I talk about surviving the ups and downs. But importantly, there are a very few number of people around you that will be able to help you weather and survive the ups and downs of research. And really going into a PhD, they need to understand what it really is. Because in my experience, I was an academic. I enjoyed my time throughout my undergraduate to my PhD and postdocs, but no one really understood what I did. And I think by sitting down with them and saying, this is what a PhD is. It's not further study. I'm not like delaying entering the workforce. This is an actual job where I get a qualification at the end. And so I need to approach it like that. This isn't like when I was in undergraduate. This isn't like when I have to cram for exams. This is an ongoing long-term commitment that I'm making to my supervisor and myself to grow as a scientist, a researcher, whatever it is. And I think sitting down and just explaining that explicitly is so very important. The second biggest thing is to ensure they understand what this means financially. If you are speaking to your significant other, they need to understand that a PhD scholarship, if you're not self-funded, is actually not very much money. And you need to sit down with that person, have the awkward conversation about finances and the fact that probably after your PhD, it's not like you finish your PhD and someone comes up and goes, well done, there's your $1 million job, good luck. Like the ongoing kind of financial pressure of a PhD can put a lot of stress on relationships. So if you are financially sort of interlinked with someone, having that awkward conversation early on and preparing for, not earning very much money during your PhD and a little bit after. And, it is an awkward conversation to have because essentially you're saying, well, I'm doing this and it's not because of money. And I think that's an important part to add is like people do PhDs not because it leads to money, it's because they've got something else underlying that, and making sure they understand what is underlying for you will help them understand why you've even made this decision. And lastly, with your support network, it's about them understanding that it probably is going to be one of the toughest times of your life, and that not that they should be ready to support you at the drop of a hat, but understand at least that, you're probably not going to be yourself. Undergraduate Andy, Mr. Old Drinky Fun Time, was having a great time. And then he did his PhD and it was fun, but it was just different. And so understanding that quick change, I think, from an outside perspective can be pretty difficult for some. So yes, those are the conversations you need to have with your support network and your significant other. The last person you need to have a serious chat with is yourself. Now, the first thing you need to make sure is that you are entering this in good kind of spirits, and that you have the tools necessary to be as resilient as possible. There is a book that I recommend to every PhD student, and it's called The Power of Small. I'll link it in the description, and it's a sort of playbook for understanding emotions, overcoming challenges, really just understanding the small little steps that you can make to really change your mindset and help you sort of, I think, weather a PhD, even though that's not the main focus of the book. That toolkit will allow you to be much more resilient than if you went in and be like, I'll just wing it. I'll just see how I go. Oh no, problems. Another conversation you need to have with yourself is that you are running your own race. Your PhD journey will be different from everyone else's. Yes, they all follow the same route in general, the same motif. Do some research, write it up, publish some papers, get sad and cry at some point, and then publish a thesis. But how you get there, the landscape will be very different. Perhaps you'll be walking up and down mountains in the snow while it's hailing on you and you have to swim through a bog, while other people have got a lovely walk in a meadow. La la la. That difference can mean that sometimes you feel like you are failing. You are not failing. It's all part of your journey. And I think having that understanding, having that appreciation of the difference, even in the same research group, of the journey. Sometimes it's all lovely and fun and, it's just everything works. But on the other side, sometimes for months, things can just not work. And having that understanding that each PhD student has their own journey through different landscapes is very important. Ultimately, we all end up at the same position, but how we get there varies wildly. So there we have it. There are the awkward conversations that you need to have with your supervisor, with your support network, and with yourself. Let me know in the comments what other awkward conversations you need to have before you start a PhD from your experience. And also go check out academiainsider.com. That's my project where I have my ebook, The Ultimate Academic Writing Toolkit, that's been getting loads of great reviews. Thank you so much. And also my insider forum. All right, I'll see you in the next video.